Welcome to Amusement Park, the theme park design show. I'm your host, Andrew Spahn, and with me today is Godswill Ugwa, the social media coordinator from Funimation. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Yeah, I'm having a great time. Still at work, actually, but, still making it happen, yeah.
It's like 8 p.m. there, right?
It is, yeah. Like, I was just sort of like, let me just stay at work until, like, this happens and just crank out whatever I gotta do. So,
wow.
Yeah. Ironically, Friday nights are really good times to just crank out a lot of work.
That's so interesting. Like, your role in particular, I mean, working at, a company that works in kind of a creative field like that, and then you do the social media, which is like an art form that's very social, and like, I doubt that's a 9-to-5 job. You kind of have to be awake all the time, right?
Yeah, sort of on it all the time. Just, I pull up my phone a lot, and it's not because like I'm bored, but it's just sort of like, okay, let's make sure nothing's on fire today. So, yeah, I hope it's not a bad habit, but we'll see how that goes.
It's important these days. Like, social media for this show is just in the toilet because I just don't have the set of skills that it takes to, like, make it engaging. But, like, keeping an eye on Funimation's been a little bit of an inspiration. I'm like, man, I could do some really cool stuff if I would, like, just do it already. Funimation kind of came out and, like, sought you out and just found you being this kind of passionate person and said, hey, do you want to do this job for us? Like, yeah. I love that. That's such a cool story. Like,
I don't know how that happened, honestly. Like, I'm still, it's been 4 years, and I'm still in awe. Like, I mean, I would joke a lot, like, oh, I didn't get fired yet. But it is amazing, and I'm just super happy. Like, I did my background's in healthcare administration. I did my master's in that, and then they got me because I had been part of the industry, just going to conventions, working with Funimation through other things. I did an anime club that was really successful.
Cool.
Just really happy and ecstatic to be at Funimation, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so, Godswill, I also really like your podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there?
I'm happy to talk about that, yeah, and thanks for listening to it. It's called That's Dope Podcast, and we talk about things that are dope, of course. So, right? And, like, that is vague, but, like, I think we sort of purposely kept it vague to allow it to be what it is. Like, when I talk with my friends, and we just say that's dope, like that like whatever subject it's on, whatever it's politics or video games, anime, music, martial art, whatever comes to mind. And we also think that everyone has to share with us, like whatever they do is dope. I mean, even like what you told me about how you just design board games and you have these days off, I was like, that's really dope, actually. You need to tell me more about that later on.
I kind of lucked out. My background's in education. And right now I'm like taking a little bit of time off and trying to get a job that pays a little bit more. And coincidentally, the job I got that pays more is in sales, and I actually end up having 3 days off every week. So it's like, wow. I work less and make more money. So then I'm using that extra time. Like, I'm not just like sitting on my butt, watching TV or whatever. I'm like working on all these kind of dreams I've had for a while. And part of it's like board games, and some of it's like classroom stuff, like gamification type of things. I hired a guy to write a book that I've been like just twiddling my thumbs and like kind of working on a little bit at a time. I'm like, I'm going to pay someone to actually write this for me and like get it out there in the world. So I don't know. I've been trying to be as creatively productive as I can when I get this extra day off per week. What do you say we design a theme park?
Let's do it.
Awesome. It's so cool when you like reach out to someone and I'm like, hey, do you want to make a theme park? And you're like, yeah, I do. Like, let's go.
Yeah, when you came up with that, like you came to me with that, I was like, what? Like,
you had a couple different ideas, but we ended up thinking that One Piece might be an awesome fit. And I am really crazy about that world. Like I was telling you earlier, like I'm not up to date on the anime or on the manga, but I really like that world a lot. And like I used to read it when it first started coming out in Shonen Jump. I was like crazy about it. It was my number one like favorite manga. And then I got out of it, just college and stuff and whatever. And I haven't really got back into it. I think I'm not exactly sure why, because I love shonen in general. I love pirates. There's a lot of things I love about this series, and the world is one of those main contributing factors. So, like, it makes a lot of sense as a theme park. But what do you like about One Piece? And I know that's a big question.
Yeah, no, it is. But, like, a few times because people ask all the time, why would I watch this show that's 800, 900 episodes and keeps on going and is planning to not stop anytime too soon, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of like I've never had a franchise that made me cry as much or even change my life as much.
Wow.
And yeah, like it really is that important to me. So I absolutely adore One Piece. I even have a tattoo on my chest. Yeah, like this. There we go.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, Sun Pirates right there. And it means a ton to me. Like where, at first, like I watched it as a kid, like when it was on Fox Box.
Mm-hmm.
And
for kids.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched it. I thought it was endearing. I thought it was dumb, but I thought it was endearing. And then I watched it, then it stopped, and then I watched it again in college because my grandbig of the fraternity I joined was like, you got to watch One Piece. We're a bunch of nerds. And he had me watch it, and I was resistant at first, but then I fell more and more in love with it, and even like filler episodes would make me cry.
Yeah.
And it was just the amount of emotions that just sort of came with the show, and like the amount of great experiences with it. Like I met some of my great friends that I have today through One Piece. I've gotten great business opportunities through One Piece. I think One Piece helped me a ton. Like by watching One Piece before coming to Funimation, it has helped me a ton, and it really has inspired me for an adventurous person, the person I always wanted to be. So,
dude, my God, that's awesome. When you said it's like change your life, I was like that sounds a little dramatic or like,
yeah.
But no, you're totally you backed that up.
But yeah, like I mean,
that's for real.
Like I definitely like look at the characters like Frankie and Luffy and Zoro, and like they put everything on the line to like really live out their dreams, and that really has pushed me. And also, I mean, even it just made my connections and friendships stronger with people that like I do care about. So yeah. I absolutely love One Piece.
That is such a cool part of this show in particular, is the strength of the bonds between people, like how much they care about each other. Like even though they're really different and they haven't known each other for that long, it's like I don't know. It's like your crew is like the family you choose or whatever. It's like it's a cool theme. I like that a lot.
That's a great way you put it. Actually,
it's an awesome show, and I'm not trying to say that the characters aren't amazing, but just the world itself is like so vivid and so lively and unusual, and like the whole show is so playful and like so unique. I think that's part of why it's such a huge global hit. Like I was doing some research today. It's like the 3rd best-selling comic book series ever. And it's Superman, Batman, One Piece. Like it's more of a better selling series than like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
like, isn't that crazy?
It is.
It's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, and I love it too. Like and I don't blame people that are skeptical, that are scared off by this, but it is such a good franchise, and even though at times it can be a little hokey, it really has pushed past that and become such a greater thing. And I think it's on its way to becoming a great ending. So super excited.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with the writing in the series as well, how it's like kind of continued over the years. I feel like it's easy to like kind of do the Simpsons thing where like the show's really different 10 years after it started, but like I feel like the show has evolved a little bit, and sometimes the art style changes a little and everything, but just the connections between plot elements from a long time ago coming back in and like foreshadowing, and it's just amazing that human beings created this show to me, which it's crazy.
Exactly. Like, and I think that's just one thing in anime generally, like where I would say like anime as a whole has created these deeper stories and pieces of work, honestly, that has touched me more than other genre or mediums, honestly, more than movies, more than games, more than books. It's crazy to me, like where anime has gone and like how far it has taken things.
Totally. And I think that it's kind of cool how that like, weekly shonen or like weekly manga style storytelling has kind of influenced the world in a way. Like it used to be that everyone creative wanted to like write a book, and that was like the best thing you could ever do is like write a novel. But then it was like, now everyone wants to write a movie, and then that's an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's nothing. And then now it's like the kind of Netflix series or premium cable, like you want like a long ongoing story arc. but it's getting more and more towards the kind of weekly manga. Like, the story never has to end. We could just keep doing this every single week. Like, I don't know. It's cool, and there's a lot that creators can kind of aspire to. Like, to have that much to say is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool show. But, yeah, so, like, in translating this into a theme park, what are the main things you feel like you have to kind of try to capture about this world?
I would say 1, the exploration.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then 2, I would say, like, doing it as a group, you know, like, where maybe even if you just somehow, like, were to go by yourself to, like, such a theme park, you know, you're put up with different people, you know, that you might not know, but, you know, you end it together with a group of people. And you're going to see some bizarre things, but you're going to... Exactly. I mean, like, this show is so bizarre, honestly. Like, it hasn't dialed it down at all. It's just actually getting more crazy, but you sort of accept it all.
Totally. It's zany and over the top, and if you're going to this theme park, you better be prepared to, like, you know, meet some new people, make some friends, and, like, get outside your comfort zone and kind of, you know, live your life more like Luffy, for example. Like, push yourself to get what you really want. Like, everyone wants to have an amazing time and make new friends, but you're not going to do it just, like, keeping to yourself or being on your phone the whole time. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. And I think that's exactly, like, how it has to be. Like, where, you know, I mean, episode 1 and 2, you know, one of the things they do is you meet Kobe, and he's a shy guy I can, you know, explore this world, and Luffy immediately punches him out and is like, go explore the world.
Yeah, I do love that. That's, like, he's such a more interesting character than, like, let's say Ash from Pokemon, which kind of has the same sort of motivation of, like, hey, go out and do your thing, man. But, like, Luffy's, like, super, like, offended if you're not doing it for yourself, which I think that's part of the power of why One Piece is so popular. Is I don't know, he's an awesome character, like a good role model, and I think continuing that kind of philosophy across the entire park, across all the little crews that will be coming into the, you know, the theme park.
Yeah.
And do we want to organize it like that? Like, does each group have a ship, or are there, like, several ships that we can explore? Ooh. And logistics don't make sense yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking, like, maybe, like, they have to name themselves, you know, like, or they have to have, like, a Jolly Roger. They have to have, you know, maybe design their own traveling mechanism of sorts, you know.
I like that. And come up with, like, a flag, and, you know, like, the Straw Hats is kind of like the main crew on the show. It's like, I like that idea. Like, building a team and then going out and kind of recruiting more members is, like, a big part of the whole show.
Yeah.
You know, the main through story arcs that are always there is just trying to get the crew together and keep exploring together. So
yeah.
But then a lot of it, like you said, exploration and then teamwork and building up your crew. I think that's a good foundation.
I like that.
So yeah, we're gonna have to have some, like, islands. You know, the show's about pirates. They do a lot of sailing around. We probably want to have some kind of way of doing that, which might be difficult. I don't know if we want to do it as, like, there's actually water there, and, like, you're on little boats that you can control. That seems really crazy, but I mean, it's all hypothetical. We could also do it more like kind of VR or something when you're actually moving between locations.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think it's more realistic. Not as fun, maybe, but it's at least doable. Because if you give
I can't
people
imagine,
free
like,
reign,
doing a water park of sorts, or I mean, a water park could be
actually
cool.
Yeah. There'd have to be a lot of water attractions anyway.
Very much.
All the ocean stuff.
Huh. Yeah. I sort of like the idea of doing VR in a way. Like, it's more futuristic, so that way more people can come.
Right, because if you're going to have boats that you can drive your boat, people will be crashing into each other, and there won't be room to have, you know, thousands of guests through the door every day, because you just be clogged up with boats everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no fun.
No. It could be possibly like one big golf cart of sorts. I guess that, like, maybe like a golf, like a tour guide can, like, drive, and then they just tell, like, the tour guide, like, where they're gonna go.
Yeah, that'd work to get you to the different islands.
Yeah, like, he's just a helmsman, and then, like, everybody else plays a different role in it.
That's kind of cool, and something I was just thinking about with the VR. If you want to be able to, like, build your own vehicle, you could actually do that in this case. You know, you can't really build your own real physical ride vehicle without like making a pretty long time commitment where you're going to be building this roller coaster or whatever. But if you do it in VR, then it can be kind of be like, you know, here are the different basic ships that you can afford or that you know, have access to from wherever you're starting out. And so you can kind of get the base model and like kind of customize it. Or if you want to do like, there could be some kind of little interface where you can like design your own ship and then, you know, pay for it with like an in-game currency. Like this has turned into a video game almost.
Yeah, right.
But that'd be kind of cool because then you put on your VR headset and you get on the boat and it looks just like what you built. You know, it's been built to your specification.
It could be like a DLC of sorts, you know, like whereas like if you do have more money to spend.
Oh, there you go. That's how we make our money. Yeah, maybe it's a freemium theme park. Like you don't have to pay. There's no admission. It's just if you want to get the cool skins and the cool, you know, access to unique things. Yeah,
maybe like if you want to base it off of characters that you already know, maybe, you know, like if you want like a Lost ship or something like that, you know, like you want to do like a submarine versus like just a standard type of ship, right?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of the characters are really outlandish and like crazy and like humongous in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. So doing the VR thing, you could have people be able to kind of customize their looks a little bit more than just putting on a costume or something. Like make it, you could look like an actual character from the world of One Piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be cool when you're in those VR sections, you know, when you're traveling from island to island. I don't think you want to be sitting in a chair in VR the whole time. You know, we want to actually be able to get out and like make this a
have
theme
people
park.
move around and do things. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the transition element, like of making it fun and like exciting to like actually like travel around.
Yeah, totally. And I might go back actually on that idea about customizing your appearance, because it could, if we're going to keep going with like the philosophy of the theme park, it's like, you know, you have the hand you're dealt, like that's what you look like.
Yeah.
You can kind of put on some cool clothes and we can have like a little cosplay area thing, like get your, you know, pirate gear on.
Like, really customize your own character, but you can't custom.
Right. You still got to be you.
I like that idea a lot.
Because I do think there's that kind of, I don't know, sci-fi future of like everyone's in VR and they all look, you know, like Ugandan Knuckles or whatever. It's like, well, come on, let's look. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really cool idea. I mean, that does fit the theme of One Piece for sure, you know? Some people are giants and some people are, I don't know, fishmen, you know? Like, there's all different types of people.
Okay. So you're the expert here. What specific islands like would you need to replicate in the theme park? Because I know there's a ton.
Yeah.
And the world is like very real and like fleshed out, and like the maps are accurate, and that's something that's really rare in anime in my experience. Is like the geography makes sense, and like the amount of time it takes to travel to a place is somewhat consistent. I don't know, a lot of it's just like, we need more traveling episodes. They'll just keep going farther and farther. But yeah, what islands do we need to make sure we hit here?
Man, like there's so many options. Like I was just thinking like Thriller Bark, right? The episode like 340s, like where it's like a haunted, spooky spot. Maybe that should just come up during like Halloween times. We have Alabasta, where you could like go help Vivi, save her kingdom from the crocodile, right? You could do, man, there's so many spots,
and there's so many like iconic ones that would look cool as like our Disney castle kind of thing, like. Really?
Exactly, like there's, man, like now that you bring it up, because like at first I thought this would be easy, but then I was like, wait, no.
It's not that it's hard, it's just that it's huge, you know, and it's like, this could be its own podcast just making the One Piece theme park, you know?
I know, right? Yeah. It's so many options with just One Piece. But it's a fun challenge, and it also like allows for a lot of variability for sure, you know, like as, you know, seasonal type of deals, or it could be yearly changes. And I'm wondering like, how close to the story would you probably stick? But back to your question, about which places to go for, you gotta do Ennie's Lobby. So that's like episode 250, or so, right? You are at the shipbuilding area, and then you go through like the whole Water 7 arc where you meet Frankie. I sort of want to skip over Marineford, honestly. Like Marineford is like where like all the big things surrounding Ace happens, and for people who haven't seen the show or are interested in watching the show, I won't say what happens, but it's a very crucial spot where a lot of the biggest battles happen. Maybe this wouldn't be the best spot, for spoilers, but it would be one of the most hype spots to go to.
Right?
And maybe one of the most emotional spots to go to.
That's something else that's curious is like, is the same story going to apply to every person who goes through the theme park? Like, are they all kind of basically taking the Straw Hat path, or are you making your own path through those same locations? So like one like minor location might be where your huge climactic battle goes down.
Yeah.
We could make it a little bit more build your own path kind of thing, but
I would like that if that's possible. I'm definitely like, it just sort of gives that whole definite One Piece experience where you don't have to be a goody two shoes pirate like Luffy.
Right? That's true.
You can be a criminal or thug or take over a spot, and maybe someone's a marine.
Right. Yeah, that's a cool option. Seeing that same world through a different lens. Like if you go back every summer, you could go back from a different perspective. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You might end up being somebody else's like bad guy. Like it'd be really cool if we could have some PvP. Like you can battle against other park attendees who are portraying a bad guy or portraying a marine or whatever.
That would be really cool.
Or even someone on your own crew, because like crew members
they do clash every now and then. So.
You gotta have a fight like every episode, so like you gotta make sure there's somebody to fight around all the time.
Yeah. I wonder like how that could happen, but I would love for something like that to happen.
I have no clue. I mean, it's gonna be a video game.
Augmented reality type of deal.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't have to be physical, but it could be something, through the VR, or it could be something that you do to another person, like if you want to like battle them. Maybe like a rock, paper, scissors type of game of sorts. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Or something like maybe a little bit like ARMS. Have you ever played that for Switch?
Oh, that could be cool.
Meaning that you don't actually go physically punch the person in the face, but you still make a punching motion. And then you witness your character. I don't know if you're having an out-of-body experience during this because the combat is so hot or whatever. Or, I don't know, just somehow you have a way of controlling your own abilities, because
that would be cool.
Hopefully some of these people will have some superhuman abilities, some devil fruit type of stuff.
Yeah, I guess like when you're creating your character, you're like, I want to be a swordsman, and then maybe like a random person in your squad becomes like a devil fruit user or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you can find them, like, or you can pay for them. It's a premium option.
Man.
Devil fruit unlock. No, that's cool. Because I do think combat is a big part of the show. Like
it is,
and not that it's like super, violent or bloody or anything. Like it's still pretty lighthearted, and a lot of it's just about exploration and adventure. But there's a lot of bad guys out there. It's pirate time, so you got to fight the bad guys.
That's very true. That's very true. One place that I am thinking that I think is absolutely crucial is the Baratier. That's a ship that Sanji is a cook at.
Yeah. Towards the beginning.
And of course, because you need like some cafeteria, restaurant area. So I think some floating seafaring restaurant would be ideal, and that could just be a neutral spot.
That'd be really cool if there are certain areas that you're not allowed to get into fights here, like combat free. Yeah. That's a good idea. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And incorporating food is always important because, authentic pirate cuisine was probably horrible in reality.
Oh, yeah.
So
I bet, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The One Piece version's not quite as nasty.
No, luckily, like Sanji, like definitely steps it up and like spices things up. So, and he's always mixing up like the type of food that he's creating. So yeah, that's a important thing. Although I do remember there's an episode like where you see some pirates start to die from scurvy.
Yeah,
they don't know about fruits and vegetables.
Right. It'd be kind of interesting if you go to the park like by yourself and you decide, I'm going to be a chef, there's like, the chef's route you can go through and like learn some. I don't know if you want to actually go through all that, but then you might have a situation where a crew is coming out to get you, like they want to recruit you to join them because they don't have, they need somebody to help them with the food thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's important.
I don't know if it'd be that fun to play the role of the chef, but
yeah, like some sort of NPC.
yeah. Maybe they're just park employees, like the food service people. You get one, and they just go on with you on your vehicle, and they can like, hey, we need more bananas or whatever. Let's go to this island and collect some. Like, because food is pretty important for survival, and if you don't really have a path where you're going, it can be like, well, hey, let's take this episode to go collect some resources that we need. I don't know. It could be like a small, small story arc to go. Just we went to this island to get this thing, and that's where the story started. That's where we met this person, or that's where we fought this person. Yeah.
Yeah, that could work out really well.
You could do something.
Yeah, I like the idea of like employees like really joining with the crew to help guide them further along. It sort of seems like a DM of sorts.
Right. I think that is important, especially when you want people to be as playful and loud and crazy as the One Piece characters are. Sometimes it helps if you have someone around you already acting,
like a navigator of sorts.
Yeah, someone showing you it's okay to be a little crazy here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess they would be the captain because they show you like how these things go. Like they're more like democratic, like where they're listening to what everyone has to offer with the will of the crew.
Oh, maybe when you first like enter the park, you're really low ranking member of a crew with a pirate who's kind of like showing you the ropes, or maybe you start out with the Marines where it's a little bit more organized and we can go over safety rules and regulations and it's a little bit more thematic. And it's like,
I like that.
They're kind of explaining the rules and the laws and like what this world is about if you're not familiar with the show. And then you go on like one little mission with them and then end up in some, large port city where you can kind of run around and scamper and like make your own crew and start building your own boat and all that stuff.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think it'd be fun. Yeah. A lot of these things could just be a video game, but like
it does feel like a video game for sure. But I like the idea of it being in person.
Yeah,
and like having to interact with people in person.
I hope that theme parks will always exist, even if we're all like working and living in VR. Like, just to have a place. I hope we don't
end up like that. But yeah, I think theme parks are important, even. Like those small one-room type of deals, like the escape rooms.
Yeah.
They're crucial because working with people face-to-face always has meant a lot more to me.
Totally. I'm absolutely with you. Yeah. It's a big part of life, and it's a lot of fun, too. And, like, I don't think we should just let, Disney and Universal have all the fun. Like,
exactly.
There's a lot of room out there for, like, the weirder, smaller theme parks.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. Oh, something else I really like about One Piece, we already talked about how the characters like look all crazy and stuff, but almost all of them have a really cool backstory. And like that's a part of storytelling that's always fascinating whenever you have like a down moment to kind of have a flashback or to like go into some detail about a character's backstory. And in this case, I don't know if we want to have people come up with their own like tragic backstory and motivation of why they came here. Because I think that would help them to get into character and not just feel like, oh, this is me, Andrew Spawn, wearing pirate clothes. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands. This is so awkward. Instead, if I'm like, I'm this character, here's my name, this is my tragic backstory I came up with, and this is why I act like a maniac, I'm going to start acting like a maniac a little bit more. Like, give me some motivation.
Give you, like, some more license to do it, yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I think that would be important, like, I don't know when we would do that in the process, but
probably at the beginning, like as you are forming yourself and as you are creating your character, maybe we can give you some guidelines on like what type of backstory like you could have, but then you can flesh it out as much as you want, or you can just sort of go with like a more standard set of backstories.
Yeah, thematically, what if we had like a fortune teller type of person, like maybe in that port city, like who's kind of. Because there's a big part of like reading tarot and that kind of thing that's sort of sussing out, like getting to connect with the other person and like read them a little bit. And you could do that process that's kind of like uncovering their backstory, but it's actually a creative process that's being a little bit led by this fortune teller person.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, that's just what popped in my head, but that sounds pretty sweet to me. I would love that process. I love
see
having
that,
my fortune told anyway.
Yeah, I like the idea of like, that could be like your processing, if you want to like do like logistics as like we're paying the entry fee and all that, or like really getting set up and started. This person is sort of like the confirmation place. So it's like, okay, is this what you want to do? We ready to do it? All right, this is your backstory. Here you go.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. And they could say, something like, tell me about the island, or tell me about, where you're from, in this world of One Piece, and then that can kind of help them come up with some ideas for your backstory. And, fortune teller's not right 100% of the time, so you might say, oh, no, it was actually like this, and then that, I don't know, you use that back and forth to kind of have some creative time and come up with your backstory.
Hey,
that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I really do think that's kind of a big key influence on why the characters act the way they do in the series, and then also how we can get real human beings to make their own character and act like that. Because it's pretty easy if you just say, hey, act like Luffy, or act like whoever character that if you're familiar with them, you can just do that. But then we're gonna have a full park of just the Straw Hat.
Groupies and
it's gonna be a little I don't know, repetitive. Everyone will be Superman. Like, that's kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need more diversity and people to be themselves and forge their own path.
Like, I am wondering like how someone gets a devil fruit. Maybe someone gets it by accident, but then if they get a devil fruit, the power is random. Like, you don't choose what power it is unless you like pay, like to have that knowledge of like, okay, this is this fruit, right?
Yeah.
But even then, most times, most people don't know like what they're gonna eat. Like, it's just, I got this random power and I have to figure out how to use it later on. So
I think doing it random is more thematic and kind of goes with the whole just embrace who you are and like make the most of it and go get your dreams. Like, you have the weirdest power in the world, but it's part of you now, so deal with it.
Exactly. Yeah, like I'm thinking like, just set off sail, and each of these places, like I'm thinking like only doing a few worlds at first, like just to like really get the, people to get really into it, but changing it up every now and then, like doing like maybe 3 worlds of sorts, 3 lands.
Then that way it's not like, because I was picturing it being like a bunch of little tiny ones
where
there's like room for one party to be there at a time, but like that's not very fun. It'd be better if it's a whole land, like you said.
Like multiple elements within a spot.
So
that way, people can come into contact with each other, or they can do other elements, that they choose as a group.
I like that a lot, and we could kind of theme it as if like this is just one part of the world, and then if you come back next year, it'll just be a different part of the world. So it's you could still portray the same character. It's just a year later, and obviously you're not in the same town anymore. You've moved on. You're in a different part of the world.
And definitely brings people back. Like, they're like, oh, I wonder what this new world is going to be, or like how this one's going to go, or which one I'm going to do within it. And I like what you said before, like where it is like you can choose your side and do multiple things in it. Like, it's just a comeback feature that is always changing up the experience. Like, it's based off of the player and whoever they come with or that they're set up with.
Right.
So it could be different every time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And maybe we could do like a matchmaking service kind of thing. Like, because obviously when they first come to the park, it'll be like, how many tickets do you need? Or, how many people are in your party? And then they'll say 1. And then that gets sent to somebody who's like a coordinator, making sure that we have full crews. And so then maybe there's someone whose sole job is to like run out to people who are individuals. Maybe after they've met with like the fortune teller or whatever we want to do for that part, when we know a little bit about this character, they can come like running out and say like, we need someone who's got experience with this thing. And we need to leave soon. Like, we need you now. Like a call to action, like a person running through the streets looking for you. Like, that makes you feel needed and like urgent.
I like that a lot, actually. Like, I'm wondering like how like how that would go. But like I like the idea of like someone like setting you up with people and calling out like, hey, okay, you're going with this crew and you will be this role, you know, maybe like one of 5 roles within the the crew, and then you guys all go out together and you guys are bonding or maybe even hating each other along the way, and maybe you fight your own people and then you leave and you can join another group later on. Yeah,
I like that, and that adds to your character's like scars and flaws and in history, and maybe they just kick you off at the next island because they don't like working with you. And it's kind of no hard feelings because it's just like, it's a pirate's life. Like, that's kind of what happens in the show is people strike out on their own and they kind of change and they develop, and the characters and like everything is still evolving all the time. Everyone's got their personal arc that they're going through.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We could also have some bigger ships too. So like, if you don't necessarily want to be in like an intimate, 5 to 8 person crew, you could just join like almost like a cruise ship kind of thing, where it's kind of like a place where you can like mingle with people and like you have some little things to do, and then it just kind of gives you like a more gentle tour through the world.
I like that.
And maybe that's with the Marines or something, where things will be a little bit more clean and organized and predictable. You're less likely to get like attacked by other, bands of pirates. But you can still explore the park, and so then if you're like, you don't
that's
really,
a great idea.
Yeah, if you don't really feel like engaging in the whole pirate's life thing, you can be like, well, I just want to go to this theme park and cruise around. That could work.
That's a great idea.
Well, thank you.
That's a great idea.
I think there are going to be so many cool stories that kind of arise from this, or at least that's my hope for it.
That's what I'm hoping too. Actually, like where I think like even this could evolve, like where it's like, okay, big day, like where it's Marines versus pirates. Like maybe Marines have to go clean up pirate crews. They're chasing after them, and like they're more powerful, and I think like more people would want to join the Marines because it's sort of easier, but like it's going to be harder to be part of pirates, but more fun.
Yeah.
It's like cat and mouse, or robbers, cops and robbers type of
right
deal.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both compelling stories. It's just like, if you're going to be a criminal, you're going to have to stand on your own 2 feet and like be able to make decisions and like
have a tight crew to go with. I can't imagine like kicking off somebody who you don't really know, while you're also like on the run from these Marines. I'm thinking like that's like an event type of deal, so it's not like
not all the
random
time.
people. Exactly. So that way random people like aren't afraid to come in, but like more often than not, it'll be like what you said, the Marines being like a easygoing experience, like where you are going through these worlds and it's fun and scripted, whereas Pirates isn't as scripted, and that one's a little bit more of a build your own adventure type of deal.
Yeah. Do you think the pirates need to each crew has someone who is like an employee of the park to like make sure things are cool, or
I think so. I think they need to be like a DM. I think they need to be able to guide the crew and either be like a helmsman or they need to be a captain.
Yeah, I like that. Helmsman is the one role you have to like hire somebody for, or
navigator or something that is this instrumental to making sure that they go wherever they need to go.
I'm so pumped about this place.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, I would like this to be a real thing now.
Yeah, because as much as we both love Luffy, like, and his story is like our knowledge of what One Piece is like through his eyes and his story, and that's an awesome perspective. But it is exciting to imagine what those other, new creative perspectives could be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. I mean, they probably won't be as well written or as cool, but if you're forging your own path, man, yeah,
like there's a lot of opportunities to enjoy One Piece for sure with this.
Yeah, and I like the idea that because whenever you do these kind of like little improvisational things with strangers, there's going to be some like awkward moments and some people you just don't really vibe with, and then but that's like part of it because the characters in One Piece are so bizarre that if you put some of them in the same room, they're just gonna like kill each other. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's it works. It's like thematic. Like, Yeah, you
It's
don't
the
like
hard.
that guy. He's really awkward, but
Right.
that's kind of his quirk, and your quirk is this thing. And if you guys don't like
Yeah.
each other, then go start your own crew. Like, get out of
Exactly.
here.
Or work or figure out like if you're gonna go for the bigger goal at hand. Like squash
Yeah.
that and focus and maybe get better as time goes on. I mean, I feel like this is a spot I really want to go to. Like, this
Yeah.
is like, dang it, Japan, make this happen. We're gonna make this happen.
Well, I mean, like Japan's kind of trying. They've had like that. They're at Universal Studios Japan. They have
Yeah,
a One Piece thing.
I
Premiere
want to
Summer,
see.
it's called, I think.
I want to see how that looks. Like, I haven't been there. I went to Japan like 2-3 years ago, and I went to J World, which is dope. And in Tokyo Tower, they have a One Piece dedicated amusement park,
Yes.
and I feel like this one will blow it out the water.
I think so. Oh, literally, man. There you go.
Uh,
That's pretty good. Yeah, I've watched like walkthrough videos of both of those parks, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's better than what we would get here in the States typically,
mhm.
but I do think making it more thematic and giving more freedom
Mhm.
would be awesome. Because like those places
Yeah.
are almost like museums for the history of One Piece and that crew specifically that's featured on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a great way to put it, actually. A museum, and it's a beautiful museum for
Uh-huh.
sure. But it is like where it is just sort of like, whoa, look at that thing. Versus, let's go do this thing like they do in One Piece,
yeah.
or not like how they do One Piece.
Right. And I kind of like that the title is just One Piece. So, like,
Yeah.
every single person's adventure could be called One Piece if that's what they're after.
Yeah.
And maybe we should talk about that. Do we want to include the One Piece or,
I
like,
don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's more like because I thought about that too, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, just as like people don't even know what the One Piece is, right?
right.
I think that other pieces of treasure should be there. Like
Uh-huh.
other mystical things that maybe they didn't even know they were wanting to find, or and maybe like as they do create a character, like we give them like a sort of vague thing that they're looking for. Like a vague,
Cool.
what do you want? Do you want to be the best fighter? Do you want to be you want to find a lot of money?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to find something amazing? But not say like you want to go here and do this thing, but more just like,
More general.
yeah, more general
Uh-huh.
type of deal. Like, do you want to be the strongest fighter? Well, then, okay, let's make you a very strong fighter. Like, so like whenever like the crew gets into fights, then you're like the strongest person that they rely on, and
Cool.
you have to, take care of everybody right there. Or maybe if you want the most money, your goal is to, I don't know, like maybe you have like a special
bounty hunter, maybe.
yeah,
Like,
maybe, or maybe you like have like a special perk where you can find treasure like along the way that helps your crew. I don't know.
yeah, you get like a treasure map. Like,
Yeah.
that's a cool idea.
Uh-huh.
And that could be
So-
part of your backstory. Like, it was an inheritance, or like you just found it one day.
Yeah.
And that's like what starts your whole adventure is like this thirst for treasure.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. And
Yeah.
it would also be cool if like, you spend the whole day at the theme park working towards this goal and you get your goal at the end of the day. And maybe that treasure is, a devil fruit or something that's going to impact the next time you come to the park. So like,
Yeah.
if you're coming back the next day, then like your adventure picks up from there and you can keep going.
Yeah.
But if you're not coming back till next year to like, kind of save your progress or whatever.
How they have like the cards and the Japanese arcades and
Mm-hmm.
bring it back. Yeah. And maybe you start with a new crew the next time, or you bring your own crew, like if that's
Yeah.
like what you're really about.
That's cool. And you could
Mhm.
have them inside of like a gold coin. Like that could be your
Ooh.
little, I don't know if RFID or NFC,
Yeah.
whatever, little chip that saves your progress is like a little memento that's not just gonna. Because I do love that idea of like Japanese arcade, like being able to make customizations and improve your character and all that stuff. I would go to the arcade so much more often if I had
Oh,
that.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't know. I love that kind of feedback. And I don't know, be able to make progression beyond just the one day
Yeah.
thing.
It makes it a lot more intriguing to me too. Like it
Yeah.
is something that like I care about a lot.
Right. Because a lot of like arcade experiences and video games in general are just kind of, here, just do this thing. It's fun. It's just like an amusement. It's not
Mhm.
like you're actually getting better at it. Or it doesn't really take skill or, I like the games that you actually need to like work at and get better at and like focus
Me too.
on. It's more fun.
I dig that competition aspect about it, and I think that like it's people versus people, player versus player type of deal, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would really enjoy that, especially if you're a big shonen fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be super fun, and then it's also kind of cool, like if your whole ship fights against a whole other ship and like you get destroyed and your ship sinks, then it's like that other crew's probably going to like take you on board and like you'll either join their crew or like you'll be a prisoner and then they'll like, I don't know, drop you off at the jail or whatever. Because that's something else I was thinking is it might be fun if the Marines get into combat with pirates once in a while and then they like actually take the pirates prisoner and like take them back to town and put them in a jail and then there's like a big jailbreak and like there's one of those every hour or whatever at this jail just because we don't want to keep our customers, like stuck in
like
jail.
Sit in one spot.
But it'd be a cool another wrinkle to their story. It's like we had no plan on being in this town. We were actually, taken prisoner after we lost this battle. So that way losing doesn't feel like it ends your story. Like you're not going to die. Like you'll get scraped up a little bit, but you'll end up, on the road again.
Yeah. I like that.
Man. This is so cool.
There's a lot of opportunities here with this.
Yeah. Man. Hopefully we could do some more theme parks in the future too, based on other properties that you're into, man. Because this is a fun one. It's a cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's a ton of shows that like I have ideas for. Like I had mentioned like Golden Kamuy too. And, like that show is definitely like one of my favorite shows that I want more people to watch, and it's very different from everything I've seen before.
Can you tell me more about it? Because I've never seen it. I mean, I did some research after you brought it up, but yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty new. So it came out last year. The anime did. I think spring. Yeah, it came out spring last year. Yeah. Okay. And what it is, it's set in the 1900s, like early 1900s, like 1901, right after the Japanese and the Russians had a war, the Russo-Japanese War, Sinai War, I guess. And it like had a lot of heavy casualties on both sides, and the soldiers from the Japanese side were just sort of left on their own. And so like the main character is named Sugimoto. He got this nickname Immortal Sugimoto because he survived the most brutal parts of the war, and he finds out about this gold rush. And one of the biggest parts of this gold rush is there is a treasure map tattooed on his death row prisoners, and these prisoners all escaped, so they all went out their own way. Whoa. And he finds out that it's a real story, and these prisoners all have the tattoos on their body. These guys are death row inmates who are really brutal.
Wow.
So it's brutal. It makes me think of like The Gray and like that Leo DiCaprio movie. I forgot
Revenant?
what it's. Yeah, The Revenant. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's brutal. It's a lot of surviving against nature, surviving against prisoners, and also the military. They're trying to also find the tattoos and the prisoners, and it's brutal. It's very funny. It has a lot of dark humor.
Cool.
It's very endearing. It's one of my favorite shows, and it's just brand new. I haven't seen anything like this.
Wow, no kidding. It sounds super unique.
Yes.
Holy moly.
And also, like a huge thing too. Or two huge things. One, like the Native Americans of Japan, like where like there's a bunch of history with that, and I didn't even know anything about this, so I learned a ton. And then two, the food. The food is a huge part of this show
because they're trying to survive that whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So like they use every part of whatever they kill.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds like a fun theme park, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was
starving and freezing and. But
yep.
Yeah, that is interesting. It sounds really like it really grabs your attention and like makes you feel like you're in that world.
Yeah, I definitely felt it myself where I'm like, I'm freezing. I don't want to be here. Or, oh God, I'm gonna die.
Dude, I had that the other day. I was going out to walk the dog, and I had been watching Lost in Space on Netflix, and I put on my gloves, and I was like, oh no, there's a gap between my glove and my coat. And I was like, oh wait, I'm not in space. I was like so wrapped up. Because that shows a lot about like survival and like trying to outwit the elements and like, man versus nature type stuff. But yeah, that sounds cool. I'll have to check that out.
It's great.
Where would you recommend watching it?
I personally like the dub. So you can watch the dub on Funimation, of course.
Oh my gosh, Funimation!
Yeah.
What amazing services they offer.
Exactly. You'd be surprised. You can also, of course, I'm putting my marketing hat right now, so
Go for
you can watch that on of course, desktop apps, phone apps, Android, iOS. You can watch on PlayStation, Xbox, Roku, Apple, whatever. So yeah, a lot of different options to watch it on. 2 seasons are out right now, so you can watch all that. If you prefer subbed, you can watch that on Crunchyroll. They have it too. So a bunch of great opportunities to watch it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much for being my guest, man. I really appreciate it, Godswill.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for bearing with me. It's been you were trying to talk to me to get to do this, and I was just busy, or things didn't line up. But I appreciate you.
No problem.
Still.
Thanks for staying at work after hours for us, man. That's awesome.
For sure, it was worth it.
If the audience is interested in seeing more of you, where can we find you online?
I am on Twitter, so Godswill Ugwa Jr. And I have the AJ. I used to be bald, so yeah. Now I'm not bald, but when I was bald, I would think of myself as AJ from Fairly Odd Parents. So that's my my icon, and I won't change that. And I'm also on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram. Yeah, with the same handle, Godswill Ugwa Jr. And find the podcast. That's Dope Podcast. So. And you'll see in black and white letters, That's Dope Podcast.
Cool, man. Thank you so much. That was a blast.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Sure. My pleasure.